Welcome to the Encore Audio Archives YouTube channel. I'm Taper Dave, and this is my channel. I've uploaded hundreds of talks here that I've recorded at meetings in West LA, and I've also recorded conventions starting in 2013. I've got a bunch of those up. And Walt and Mary Murray, the original owners of Encore Audio Archives, started the company in the 80s, and Walt recorded Joe and Charlie's and a bunch of stuff down in Vista, California. My sobriety date is June 20th of 1994. I hope you find something you like, so please like and subscribe to my channel and comment down below. If you want to hear something that I don't have or that you don't see, I'll see that I get it. Anyways, take care and have a great day if you want to.
Please join me in welcoming our next speaker, Andy.
Hi, my name's Andy. I'm an alcoholic. First off, I'd like to thank Brandy for asking me to speak and the Three Amigos for putting this whole party on. Jim. Oh, somebody's calling for somebody. Somebody lost their book. All right, my name's Andy. I'm an alcoholic. Let's start over. Okay. Wow, New Year's Day, I'm speaking at the Marina Center. This is pretty awesome. I don't want to go too much into my drunk-a-log because I got a half an hour to share what it was like, what happened, and what it's like now. But I started drinking and doing drugs when I was 11. And by the time I was 14, I had progressed so eloquently that by the time I was 14 and a half, I was admitted to this psychiatric hospital called Woodview Calabasas Psychiatric Institution. And I thought it was pretty funny that, you know, at 14 I'd already been locked up, and I didn't really like it there. So I think 2 days later I AWOL'd, and being the smart alcoholic dope fiend that I am, I ended up a couple doors away from my parents' house drinking and smoking weed with my best friend. And I got caught there. And they, you know, brought me back up to the hospital and, you know, admitted me back in. And it was a pretty elaborate breakout, the first one. And then when I got back, I found out that the back door was open and that all I had to do was just be sly and go out. So about 4 or 5 days later, I, you know, kind of creeped by the nursing station, you know, down low, and hit the back doors and took off again. And being that smart alcoholic that I am, I ended back at my best friend's house drinking. And they got a little smarter than I was. They brought me back to the hospital, and they gave me one of those really cool gowns that you get when you're in elopement risk. And it was pretty cool. I liked it. They let me keep my cowboy hat. So they kept me in there for 10 and a half months, and it was pretty awesome. I got all kinds of therapy. I got, you know, individual psychotherapy, group therapy, family therapy, music therapy, poetry therapy, music therapy. There was a couple others in there. Oh, the art therapy was pretty fun, making ceramics and baskets, and they taught me how to iron and stuff. And they had a little sewing kit and some India ink, and we stole that and started tattooing each other because we were in Calabasas and we were hard. And it was pretty fun. After 10 and a half months there, they said I was better and that I would be okay in society. And within a week of being out on the streets, I went to my drug dealer's house, and I don't remember even really doing any drugs, but I remember this Jack Daniels that I had. It was a big gulp cup full of Jack Daniels and just a little bit of Coke on top of it, and I drank it. And by the time I got home, I had got in a fist fight and beat somebody up and knocked him out. Went home, passed out, and when I woke up, I was in this really wonderful place. It was called Van Nuys Psych Hospital, and Van Nuys Psych in Woodview, Calabasas. It's kind of like, you know, a Marriott, which is the first one that I was in, to like a Motel 6, and it was gnarly. So I get out of there on a threat to my father, and I started going to school with my dad, where my dad taught, and started to maintain a little bit. I had to learn how to kind of not really control and enjoy my drinking, because I never thought that I did that, but I just had to like regulate what time I started, which was usually about lunchtime, so that I didn't become too drunk to attend school and get through. So I graduated high school in And then it was on. I got this inheritance and resentment, and I used to buy lots of cocaine and sell little tiny bits of it, and thought I was a businessman. And being New Year's Day, I got to tell this story. I haven't told it in a long time, but me and a friend were like, it's like New Year's Eve, and we really want to go do something fun because, you know, sitting up on the hill and drinking all the time wasn't that much fun. We bought a keg, and we went down to Pasadena, and we parked. We paid this elaborate fee to park behind this building. Like if the parade was right here in front of the building, we parked in the back. And we sat up all night drinking, and I had this little TV that we had in the car, and I was so loaded by the morning that we couldn't get out of the car and watch the parade. We sat in the car in the parking lot watching the parade on the TV. And that's how like things in my life turned out when I was drinking. You know, it was always incredible like that. Everything that I wanted to do just failed. So my brother got sober, and I got kicked out of my mom's house, and I got this apartment, and I had finally come of age. I was able to drink and use like I wanted to. I had wine in boxes. Lucky Lager and Budweiser filled the place up, bongs on the mantle, and I was hopeless and desperate and just falling apart by this time, and I didn't know what to do. We were up late one night smoking freebase because crack hadn't really been invented yet, and I remember the desperation and the hopelessness that was going through me, that I had smoked all this stuff and still felt horrible. And I left the party that was in my living room, and I went into my bedroom, and I said out loud, I said, "God help me." And I don't remember when it was. I don't remember how long it was between that prayer and between the introduction into Alcoholics Anonymous, but it wasn't long. It was a few days or a week. And it was through my mom, of all people. I was smoking some weed, and a knock came on the door, and I answered it with my bong. Now, my mom had never been to my apartment, but I opened the door, and she sees all the beer cans, and she sees all the drug paraphernalia, and she looks at me in the eyes, and she says, "It looks like you have a problem." And I think I did what any alcoholic would do at that point, was deny it. I said, "You know, it's my roommate. You know, he's just not a very good maid, you know. It's not really me." And then something happened in that conversation. I said to my mom, I said, "Yeah, I have a problem, and I don't know what to do." And she says, "Well, your friend John's been sober for a couple of years, and he's helped your brother out a little bit, and maybe you could come over right now and call him." And I made some excuse to, no, she said, "Maybe you could call him." And I didn't have a phone. And she says, "Well, just come over to my house." And I said, "No, I don't want to do it." She says, "Well, I'll take you down to the store." And for the first time in my life, I think I said the first honest words that came out of my mouth as related to my disease, and that was, "I'm loaded right now. I can't make this phone call about recovery. Why don't I try tomorrow?" And had I known that that was going to be the last day of my life that I would drink and use, I probably would have done it a little better. I think I smoked a little weed. I drank a few beers. It was nothing spectacular or fun. I didn't steal any cars that night or do anything crazy. But December 1st, 1985, I woke up, and I knew that I had to make this phone call in the afternoon, but I had to go to my drug dealer's house to fix his van, and I fixed his van, and I ended up getting out of there unharmed. I didn't get high, and I remember going and making this phone call, and it was my introduction to Alcoholics Anonymous. I hadn't known anything. And I called John, and I remember him asking me, "Do you feel any pain, and do you think you're gonna be able to stay sober one day?" And I said, "One day? That's really not hard. I can do that. It's already like 4 o'clock by now." And John taught me the magic of the program, that it was just kind of one day at a time, and that I didn't have to do this thing my whole life. And what happened was, as I got involved in this outpatient program, and part of the program was going to Alcoholics Anonymous, and the other part was, it was a bunch of kids my age trying to get sober, a little bit of therapy. They did some crazy things that, like, your sponsor would do to you. Like, I had to get a list every week of 5 people that I had to call and see how their day was going. And it taught me how to use the phone for when emergencies came up. And I started to feel good, and I got this sponsor, and actually I asked John to be my sponsor, and things didn't work out so well, and he wanted me to get a co-sponsor. And I got this guy and started working the steps with him, And then I finally came up to him and I said, hey, I got this girl that's really, really interested in me. And, I think it, might lead to something else. And he says, well, the only advice I have for you is you have to do your 4-step before you have sex with her. And I was like, okay. So I did. I took my time. I spent about 3 hours on it. I handled that real quick. And I remember the anticipation of, trying to find him to do my 5th step and read it. And boy, it was great. Sobriety was awesome. I mean, I was, 60 days sober and had already done my 4-step and 5th step and, pretty much had this girl that was into me. And I was going to lots of meetings and having lots of fun. And I remember, did I say I was 20 when I got sober? 1985? I don't think I did. I was 20 years old. And I remember when it happened. I remember when the miracle of Alcoholics Anonymous happened for me. It didn't happen in a meeting. It was a bunch of knuckleheads. And we all bought these big blocks of ice and we did something illegal. We broke into a golf course and we took these blocks of ice and we lugged them up the hill and we sat down on them and slid down on our butts. And I knew during that evening that my life was going to be all right and that I could fit in and that I could play and that Alcoholics Anonymous was a spot that I really kind of wanted to hang out with. The people that were there were really cool. They were like me. They weren't squares. And I started to feel a part of, and I started to help other people out, and it was crazy. I watched a lot of people not make it, a lot of better people than me, a lot of people that sat in the front row every meeting and, called their sponsor 3 times a minute, and they didn't make it. And somehow I did, and I don't know what that is. I think it was because I was totally surrendered when I got here. When I was in that room by myself, completely wasted out of my mind, but not high, and surrendered. I said, God help me, I'll do anything. I think the magic happened for me. I think I was blessed because from December 1st, 1985, the obsession for me to drink and use had been completely lifted from me. And that in itself was a miracle because, that's the only thing I had from age 11 to 20 was to get high. That was the only obsession driving force in my life. And I don't say that to show off or I'm any better. It was just my story. And I know a lot of people's story isn't that. I know a lot of people struggle with the obsession daily and it hasn't been removed completely. But like that guy up there, Dr. Bob, he had it for 7.5 years. Every day he stayed sober with this crazy obsession. My life got really good really fast. I started doing stupid stuff like going to sober parties and, hanging out with sober people and doing all this stuff. And I was at this one sober party and I met this girl's father and he liked me from the conversation and he liked what I did and he asked me to come work for him and I spent years working for him. And then it happened. Just before my year birthday, there was this little Mexican guy speaking in this meeting and he didn't stay at the podium. And he only had one eye, but it was glass. And he's walking up and down the aisles, and he got in my face, and he took the pin and started tapping on his glass eye, saying, "If you want what I have, keep drinking." And I thought, this is the guy I want to be my sponsor. And I can't break his anonymity, but his initials are Joe Gomez, and he's been my sponsor for, I don't know, coming up on well into 19 years now, and he's an amazing person. We started studying the book at our house. We moved in together, and we had spaghetti night and book study, and we just went through the book, and we talked about the book, and when we didn't know a word, we looked it up, and we gave and we took, and we learned and we loved, and then things got good until I started messing them up in my head, and this really great job that I had, I really didn't like, and I really wanted this rock and roll lifestyle, and I was given a dream in Alcoholics Anonymous, and I've learned here that Alcoholics Anonymous doesn't give dreams without the ability to get something out of them if you work for them, at least in my case, and I wanted to go hang out and tour the world. And I hooked up with some bands, and for 10 years I got to get paid and travel and be sober and go places, and hey, look at me, I'm sober and I'm doing this thing. And it was hard work. It was hard work because at first nobody believed in me, you know. I mean, my mom and my dad didn't believe in me, and a lot of the people in the program didn't believe in what I was doing. And I just knew in my heart that it was something that I had to do, and I did it. And because I believed in it, and because I did the footwork to make this magic happen, pretty soon all those people that didn't believe started believing because they saw the results of what working towards a dream and towards a goal could do. And then I'm in the process now of like reforming my dream, you know. I know that I don't really have this like clear picture of the dream. It's kind of foggy right now, and I kind of stopped the rock and roll thing, and I've been trying something new lately. And part of that is the last 5 years has been spent in a lot of service and a lot of like giving back of what was given to me. And I'm really grateful to it. I'm really grateful to the lessons I've learned here. Some of them are like, you know, you don't necessarily have to have a resentment in a coffee pot to start a meeting. You know, it's perfectly okay to start one without a resentment. And started a few meetings here late at night. Those have been going pretty good, and I've been involved in a little bit of GSR work and a little bit of the last 5 years I've been involved on a Young People's Committee, and we bid for this Young People's Convention, and we throw dances and crazy stuff. I've been doing some panels and giving back to people that don't know about Alcoholics Anonymous. I love this program. And I couldn't stand anybody that said they love this program. I love this program because there's like no rules. That we have a couple of suggested traditions that we follow, and they make sense now. The longer I stay sober, the more I see the miracle of Alcoholics Anonymous. I hear a lot of people get up here and quote statistics about who's going to make it and who's not, and I got to tell you, I don't know anything about that. What I do know is that when I got sober, there was about 1 million members in Alcoholics Anonymous, and I know today there's about 2 million. And, you know, in my eyes, that shows me that this thing works, and that my life is good because of it. Even when I think it's bad. This year has been a tough year for me. A lot of things are going on. You know, today's a rough day for me. My older brother died on New Year's Day a long time ago, and it still kind of haunts me. And but I keep going. I know that there's hope today. You know, I know that for me, drinking and using isn't going to solve anything as much as I want. I don't have that. They say that the great obsession of every abnormal drinker is to drink like other people, and I've never had that obsession, thank God. I mean, I always want to just be like to the curb, you know. I don't want to have a glass of wine. I don't want to have like half a Quaalude, you know. I don't want to do, you know, a 1/4 gram of anything, you know. I want a lot. And I don't have these false ideas, but what I do know is that every day I don't drink and I don't use, if nothing else happens, that I'm a success. And carrying this message is sometimes tough, you know, because there's a lot of people that don't want to hear what I have to say. And I've learned that in Alcoholics Anonymous, I don't have to please everybody, you know, that all I have to do is show up and be true to my own self and work this thing the best that I can, and that's, if one person gets help, that's enough. And if you're here on the holidays and you think you don't have anything to offer, you do. You definitely do. I thought a half an hour was going to be really short, and it seems to be really long right now. I've tried out new things this year that I didn't think I'd ever do, and I get to walk through fear. One thing I've learned lately, and it's really incredible for me, because for a long time I believed it. I heard a lot of people at the podium say you can't be in fear and faith at the same time, and I got to tell you that this year I've really learned that being in fear does not mean that I don't have faith. And And that was kind of relieving to me, because I had believed that for a long time, that if I was scared that I didn't believe. And today I totally believe. I have this God that's pretty incredible to me. When I got here, I used to pray to a light bulb in the back of a church on Shoup Avenue. It was higher and it was powered, and then it burned out, and then I learned. I heard someone say that they were praying for parking spaces and women, and then I thought my God should be a little bit bigger than a parking attendant and a pimp. So I started to believe in the God that Bill Wilson describes in the book a little bit, which is that either God is everything or he's nothing. You know, what was my choice to be? And today my choice is that God is everything. And as much as I don't understand that, and that concept is I'm never going to be able to understand everything, it's comforting that I have a God today that doesn't judge me or you, and that he doesn't start wars with me or the world, and that it's an unconditional thing. There's no conditions on it. And it's comforting, even, like I said, even when I'm scared, that I know that it's there. And I don't really know where to go, other than it's incredible to be sober a little over 19 years. I never thought that this would happen. I never thought I would live to be, much older. I never thought I'd want to. Wow. For somebody that has a lot to say, I don't have anything to say right now. Wow, what do I say? I think I'm going to say I'm going to quit a little bit early, and thank you all for showing up.
I think we got a great talk going on here. Thanks for watching the channel. Taper Dave here. Just curious, do you think this is better than Zoom? Okay, this is how I prepare my drone for launching. I like to do it inside the cab of my truck so I'm not standing outside in the weather. To install the joysticks for control, up and down, right and left, powered on. I have an Android phone that I use to connect it to the drone with. And it's actually controlled through the iPhone, through an app. Oops, wrong way. It's actually controlled through the iPhone, or through this Android phone, through the app. It's actually controlled through the Android phone, through an app, and you connect it through this short connection right here.
Remote control connected.
Remote control's connected. So I pull out the drone. I have to extend the legs. Long legs extended first, then the short legs. Remove the gimbal protector. Set that aside, then power it on one short burst, then one long burst. I lay it down. So I have to go to calibrate. So the drone's not connected yet. It shows you here as this drone gets disconnected, even though the remote's powered on. So the drone has to establish it's connected. So I go into the app to calibration mode. First I'll calibrate the remote controller. Start calibration. Out, in, out, in, up, down, and then this little wheel is to control the gimbal. So it's calibrated. Go to gimbal calibration, start calibration, and then it calibrates the gimbal. I don't know if that shows up. The gimbal's moving all over the place. Changes, you can see it on the video. And I'm calibrated to take off. It's acquired 7 satellites at the moment. There are 26 satellites up in the sky, which it has to acquire before you can take off. So it's connected. It's got enough satellites. This is white. I can go to press this little arrow button, swipe right to take off, and it would start the motors if I slid this to the right. But I'll wait till I get outside. Don't want to do it inside.